Have you ever been caught in a storm so fierce it felt like the world was ending? I'm not just talking about a bit of rain and wind. I mean one of those epic, movie-like tempests that rattles your windows and makes you question everything. That's what happened to me one unforgettable night. A night that started so peacefully but ended up changing my perspective on, well, a lot of things. It was a Tuesday evening, just like any other. I'd finished dinner, was catching up on some shows, and the sky outside was a calm, dusky purple. There was a gentle breeze, the kind that whispers through the leaves and makes you feel all cozy inside. The weather forecast had mentioned a chance of showers, but nothing major. A chance of showers, famous last words. Light. Around 10 p.m., the first sign appeared. It wasn't rain, but a sudden, strange stillness. The breeze died completely. The crickets, which had been chirping their nightly song, went silent. It was an eerie, heavy silence, the kind that feels like a deep breath before a plunge. I paused my show, listening. A distant, low rumble, so faint I almost thought I'd imagine it. But then it came again, a little closer this time. He walked over to the window and he looked out. The sky to the west was no longer dusky purple. It was a bruised, inky black, a solid wall of darkness that was slowly, menacingly, eating the stars. And then, a flicker, a silent, jagged streak of lightning illuminated the cloud from within, like a giant X-ray of the storm skeleton. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. That's when the wind hit. It wasn't a gentle breeze anymore. It was a sudden, violent gust that slammed against the house, making the whole structure groan. The trees in my yard, which had been standing so still just moments before, were now thrashing wildly, their branches whipping back and forth like they were in a desperate struggle. Then came the rain. It started as a few heavy drops, spluttering against the glass like thrown pebbles, but within seconds, it was a solid sheet of water, a deafening downpour that blurred the entire world outside my window. The sound was immense, a constant, roaring static that drowned out everything else. The power flickered once, twice, and then went out, plunged into darkness. The storm felt 10 times more intense. The only light came from the lightning, which was now almost constant. Each flash would illuminate the chaotic scene outside for a split second. The riding trees, the water cascading off the roof before plunging me back into absolute black. The thunder was no longer a distant rumble. It was a physical force, a concussive blast that seemed to shake the very foundations of the house. I could feel the vibrations through the floor, up my legs, and into my chest. At first, I was just trying to stay calm. I fumbled for my phone, using its flashlight to find some candles. Lighting them, the small, flickering flames created dancing shadows on the walls, making the room feel both smaller and more menacing. My cat, who usually thinks he's the king of the jungle, was a quivering ball of fur under the sofa. I couldn't blame him. As the storm raged on, something shifted in me. My initial fear started to mix with a strange sense of awe. I was completely powerless. There was nothing I could do but sit there and witness this incredible display of nature's force. All my little daily worries, the emails I needed to answer, the chores I had to do, they all just evaporated. They seemed so laughably insignificant in the face of this raw, untamable power. I pulled a chair to the window, blew out the candles, and I just watched. The lightning was a spectacular, non-stop light show. Some bolts were jagged daggers stabbing down at us. Others were like intricate spider webs spreading across the entire sky. With each flash, I'd see a new, frozen image of the world in turmoil. I started thinking about how ancient people must have felt during storms like this. Without the science to explain it, without reinforced houses, it must have seemed like the gods themselves were at war in the heavens. It made me feel connected to something primal, something timeless. We build our cities, our schedules, our digital lives, creating this illusion of control. But a night like this strips it all away and reminds you that you're just a small part of a much larger, much wilder world. There's a concept in philosophy called the sublime. It's that feeling you get when you encounter something so vast, so powerful, that it's both terrifying and exhilarating. Standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon, looking up at a star-filled desert sky, or, as you learn it at night, watching a massive thunderstorm from the safety of your home. It's a feeling that shrinks your ego and expands your soul. After what felt like an eternity, but was probably only an hour or two, the storm began to subside. The deafening roar of the rain softened to a steady drumming. The thunder moved further away, becoming a gentle grumble once more. The flashes of lightning grew less frequent, their fury replaced by a kind of tired resignation. Finally, the rain stopped. The silence that followed was even more profound than the one before the storm. It was a clean, washed-out silence. He opened the door, and the air that rushed in was incredible. It was cool and clean, thick with the smell of rain, wet earth, and the ozone, that unique, electric scent that only a thunderstorm leaves behind. The power was still out, but the clouds had broken. A few stars were tentatively peeking through, and the moon cast a silvery, ethereal light over everything. The world outside was dripping and glistening. Puddles in the street reflected the moonlight like scattered mirrors. A few broken branches littered the lawn, but the house had held. It had held. I stood set on my porch for a long time, just breathing in the post-Stormy. I felt renewed. The anxiety and the stress that had been humming in the background if my life for weeks were gone, washed away with the rain. I felt a sense of clarity and the peace that I hadn't felt in ages. That stormy night taught me a valuable lesson. It taught me about the importance of letting go. We spend so much energy trying to control every aspect of our lives, but sometimes, the most profound experiences happen when we're forced to surrender to something bigger than ourselves. It reminded me that it's okay to be small, to be powerless, and to simply be enough the world around us. It was a humbling, and ultimately, an incredibly grounding experience. So the next time you see that clouds gathering on the horizon, maybe don't just close the curtains. Maybe, just maybe, take a moment to sit and watch. You might be surprised by what the storm can teach you. Thanks for joining me on this little trip down memory lane. I hope it gave you something to think about. If you enjoyed the story, I'd be so grateful if you'd hit that like button and subscribe for more content. I love sharing these moments with you all. Stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.